I appreciate the opportunity to come and speak to y'all today. It means a lot. My name is Scott Carson. I'm running for Justice of the Peace for Precinct Number 1. I'm a lifelong resident here in Montgomery County. Went to school, graduated Willis, kindergarten through 12th grade, married my high school sweetheart. We've got 2 boys in the district currently, a senior and a 9th grader who we homeschool, high-functioning autistic. I currently serve on the Willis Independent School District School Board. I was elected in 2022. I stay involved in my community. That's something that's very important to me and something I try to instill in my kids as well, as community involvement. I think my experience on the school board and my community involvement is going to bode well for me in this role as Justice of the Peace. Justice Peace Courts, in my opinion, it's the people's court. So I believe in ensuring that the people are comfortable in that courtroom. My own personal experience in that courtroom, I've only had 1 speeding ticket my entire life. I had to go before Judge John Kleiman when I was a senior in high school. The lesson was learned. You know, he made an impact on me. It influenced me overall as a positive experience. He held me accountable, and then he also showed me grace. And like I said, that stuck with me, has lasted with me. And so I want that to be a positive experience for anybody I interact with in our community. And personally, I think 90% of everybody's first experience with the judicial system in the state of Texas is going to be in a Justice of the Peace Court. And if we can keep that as a positive experience and also hold them accountable, we can cut down on, recidivism and escalating crimes that would take them to different court systems throughout the state of Texas. But I believe maybe that's 1 minute, but I appreciate it. And I'll take any questions anybody has.
Yes, sir. What professional experiences best prepared you for this position?
I've spent the better part of my professional career out of high school in the criminal justice realm in some shape, form, or fashion. I started off right out of high school working as a correctional officer for TDC. I lasted 10 months there. They put me in an outside picket, outside guard tower. You're talking about being bored. That was very boring to me. I thought, as a guy my size, that they would have me in administrative segregation on the 5-man riot team or something, being young and full of vim and vigor and wanting to get in there and, get rowdy. But anyway, I lasted 10 months there, and then I left there and went to retail asset protection. Was with Kmart for a year before they filed bankruptcy and closed that store. Got on with Walmart here in Conroe, catching shoplifters for 5 years. Developed those relationships with law enforcement, Conroe PD, and that piqued my interest in law enforcement and had a lot of encouragement for those guys that I met and became friends with to get into law enforcement. And then after that, I went into the police academy in 2006, and 2007, I got hired on the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office. I worked under Sheriff Tommy Gage for 5 years. Left the agency in 2012, went to work for the federal government, the postal system. I've been there the last 13 years. Just recently left the postal system to run for Justice of the Peace because you cannot work for the federal government and run for political office along party lines as a Republican or a Democrat. It's against the Hatch Act. So I've been looking for a career change for the last 2 years regardless. I wanted to stick around in criminal justice in some shape, form, or fashion, but due to the totality of the circumstances with my life and stuff, God had other plans. But fortunately, there's an opening here, and I'm back here working the sheriff's office in the civilian role. And that's where I'm at currently. So I feel all that life experience, professional experience is going to prepare me for this role.
What improvements do you envision for the court, short-term and long-term goals?
I think the previous administration has done a great job with that court. But just because something's not broken doesn't mean it can't be improved. There's some things that I would like to concentrate on. My service on the school board, I think, is going to help in that aspect. I think truancy is becoming a big issue right now. I had a meeting today, as a matter of fact, with the superintendent in Montgomery ISD, and his assistant superintendent, who's in charge over the truancy advocacy and stuff like that as well. To me, the truancy, it's like you got a hay field, you got a smoldering fire over there. Are you just going to let it sit there and smolder? You come back the next morning, your whole hayfield's up, or are you going to go out and you're going to engage with it now? That's what I foresee in the future. 5 years from now, truancy is going to be a lot bigger problem than it is currently. That's how school districts get paid, is through their average daily attendance. And if we don't get a handle on it, I think that's going to become a bigger problem than what it is now. For my meeting today, they feel like that there were some their opinions, and I share some of the same opinions, that the parents aren't being held accountable as much as they should, and that's something I'm going to definitely be looking into. And I've actually spoken to some people that there's recent legislation passed as well that should be giving justice of the peace more teeth when it comes to truancy, to be able to hold parents accountable. Just my personal opinion, and what from my experience that I've saw, I believe parents these days want to be their kids' friends rather than be their parent. So, and I know that there are certain circumstances and stuff like that as well. I'll take the totality of the circumstances into consideration in each case before making a ruling on this.
How would you balance discipline and fairness with defendants?
Discipline and fairness. You know, I think my judicial philosophy is pretty simple. It's going to be to treat everybody with dignity and respect. You know, my dad always told me you treat everybody with dignity and respect no matter what, until they show you that they don't deserve it, then you pray for them. I think as far as discipline and fairness, it's just common sense. You know, everybody deserves to be treated like that. You know, that's the people's court. They deserve, everybody who comes in that courtroom has expectations of having their side of the story heard, you know, without unfair bias. So I think that's just basically what I'm going to be, what it amounts to me, is just make sure everybody is treated that way. And before I make a ruling on it, you know, I'm going to take both sides of the story into consideration. It's like I could compare it to a ball game, ball field. You know, I coach my kid in Little League baseball. You know, in the JP court, you got the plaintiff, you got the defendant, the judge is the umpire. So it's my side. It's my job to, you guys know in law enforcement, there's always side A and side B, and then somewhere in the middle is the truth. And you got to take both sides and decipher it and interpret it to find out what's really going on here. So I think that will be part of my philosophy as far as in the discipline and fairness in the courtroom.
Yes, sir. The floor is yours for a final statement.
Okay. You know, growing up where I grew up at, I had a older brother who was handicapped. He was physically, mentally handicapped as an invalid. He could not walk. He could not talk. He was bedridden. Mom had to stay home full time to take care of him. My dad worked 85 plus hours a week just to make ends meet. So there's a lot of financial insecurity, a lot of hard times in my life. But I think those experiences throughout my life have shaped me during my formative years to be the person I am and why I'm compassionate, especially the youth of our community. I'm compassionate about them, and as well as special education, special needs kids as well. But as far as other aspects of the job, you know, I've sat in many courtrooms the last 3 months. I've sat in more courtrooms than I have my entire life. I've had meetings with every single constable and every single justice of the peace here in Montgomery County, except for Precinct 3, Ryan Gable and J. Mac Sanders. And they're on the list as well. You got to meet with them. I just didn't dip my toe in this lightly. You know, when we heard the rumblings that Judge Mack wasn't going to rerun, I did my due diligence. You know, I talked to family members and friends, see if it was something that I was going to get some traction on, get some support. I talked to pillars of our community, faith leaders, and then elected officials. You know, I put myself in a situation to where I wasn't going around asking a lot of people for money. You know, I was just going out to see if I was going to have the support that needed to be elected to this position. So that's what I did. And I'm fortunate enough I do have a lot of support from not only friends and family, but elected officials as well. And I think it's going to help me out as well. But I guess that's about it for now. Do you have any questions for me?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate y'all's time. Thank you.